know how important good name is to a lot of us Nigerians, even though that there's a tendency that is winning. Growing up, that's what parents used to tell their kids. Good name is better than riches and so on. But because of the love for money, because of the way we worship money, that idea has greatly diminished. But
a huge disincentive, apart from asset recovery, will be even after assets are recovered, stolen funds are recovered, if the possibility of naming the person and shaming them exists. I think it's a bigger deterrent than just losing their stolen wealth.
Hello viewers, and welcome to Transparency Files. This is a weekly production brought to you by the Public Enlightenment and Education Department of the ICPC. I am your host, Hawasani Garba. As we all know, good governance is a key ingredient in combating corruption. To promote good governance, we must embrace transparency, accountability, and the determination of both the government and the people. Without these elements, the fight against corruption could remain an elusive dream for us as a nation. To enforce accountability and transparency, it is essential to expose and hold accountable those who relentlessly seek to undermine our economy by exploiting every opportunity to steal from the nation. The critical question is, how far are we willing to go to achieve this goal? Should we intensify efforts to name and shame the corrupt or not? This is the focus of today's program. In addition, we will bring you an engaging segment on the opportunity cost of corruption, reports from our state offices, and much more. But first, let's join Joy Aja as she shares the latest anti-corruption stories. Over to you, Joy.
Thank you, Hawa. Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. My name is Joy Aja. ICPC has secured the conviction of one Mr. Solomon Ogbodo, a superintendent of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, for his involvement in forgery, employment racketeering, and fraud. The Commission had in December 2022 arraigned Mr. Ogbodo before Honorable Justice M.S. Idris of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Jabi, Abuja, for defrauding unsuspecting job seekers to the tune of 12,200,000 naira. In the 5-count charge, the Commission told the court how the convict on different occasions hoodwinked some members of the public into parting with different sums of money in the guise of securing employment for their relatives in the Nigerian Correctional Services. ICPC's prosecutor in the case, Hamza Sani, had in the course of the trial laid evidence before the court on how Mr. Ogbodo forged offers of provisional appointments for some applicants into the Nigerian Correctional Services. His actions are contrary to Sections 13 and punishable under Section 68 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, and contrary to Section 363 and punishable under Section 364 of the Penal Code Act. The actions also violated and are punishable under Section 1 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Related Offences Act of 2006. Shortly before the jail sentence was passed, counsel to Mr. Ogbodo, A. Moye, who held brief for Osita Eze, urged the court to convert the jail term to community service for the convict. The prosecution counsel on his part moved that the court should take cognizance of Section 319, subsection 1A of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA 2015, to mandate the convict to pay compensation of all the sum collected to the victims of his action. Justice M.S. Idris, in his judgment, sentenced Mr. Ogbodo to 7 years imprisonment on counts 1 to 3 without option of fine, and 2 months imprisonment or option of fine of 500,000 naira on count 4. The convict equally bagged 2 months imprisonment on count 5 of the charge without option of fine. The court also agreed with the submission of the prosecution brought under Section 319, subsection 1A of ACJA by ordering the convict to restitute all he received from his victims in the course of his illegal action. And that'll be all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Hawa. Please stay with us.
Corruption not in my country. That was a very good business.
Yeah.
The furniture you brought was very perfect.
That's how we roll.
Because let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
Mbano. The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I doesn't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for vendor that understand business.
Take.
Your loss. Rubbish.
But it is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
You will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people, make una only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. You are watching Transparency Files. Today, we continue the discourse on naming and shaming. Not to debate whether it should be done, but to examine the consistency of its application. Naming and shaming corrupt individuals have proven to be a powerful deterrent. It enforces ethical standards, reduces criminal acts, and promotes adherence to the rule of law. Beyond that, it fosters guilt, which can lead to repentance and restitution. When a corrupt individual is exposed, society is expected to denounce the act, treat it as unacceptable, and ensure the individual faces full weight of the law. If we are to make progress through this strategy, no excuses, whether based on politics, tribe, or religion, should be made for corruption. Let's take a closer look.
There are actually two things that can help: naming and shaming, which we have done for so long. The other side of it is also naming and faming. So naming and shaming is important to the extent that, so all the work that ICPC and organizing media accountability non-profits like mine do is fighting impunity, not really corruption. Because impunity is when a public official knows that he will commit a crime, steal money, and nothing, absolutely nothing happens. And a huge disincentive, apart from, asset recovery, will be, even after assets are recovered, stolen funds are recovered, if the possibility of naming the person and shaming them exists, I think it's a bigger deterrent than just losing their stolen wealth. So I think to that extent, to a large extent, I think that it's terribly important that we start to adopt a system of naming and shaming. One thing that is missing is also throwing up icons of, integrity, naming and rewarding them. The media plays a whole lot of roles in the society. So the media is the bridge between the people and, government. And the media section 22 particularly, mandates the media to hold government, its officials, and government institutions to account. So that is the role that the media, so the Constitution actually gives the media a specific role in fighting corruption by holding public officials to account. If we publish a story, government has devoted 1 billion naira to, sink boreholes in communities, and some crooked public officials steal the funds. And now the people are saying government is not doing anything, no dividends of democracy. The media steps in, exposes these people. Are we not providing government the opportunity to recover stolen funds and do what it is supposed to do and create a rapport with the people? So that's but government and its officials, they don't see our work as complementing. So I think the media is doing a great deal of, accountability work that the Constitution mandated to do. But I will be deceiving myself if I also don't point out the fact that the media is also part of the problem. There is enormous corruption in the media. And that is understandable because we didn't import the Nigerian media from Mars or from the moon. The media is a creation of this corrupt environment. And so, as much as possible, we try to deal with it, but there is still in Nigeria credible media that is doing credible investigative work.
It's tricky considering our attitude to corruption in the country. Most times we let people get away with murder either because they are from our own ethnic group or religious group or state and so on. So you have a situation where people are arrested, convicted of corruption, running into hundreds of millions or even billions of naira. And even when you punish them, they go to prison, they come back 3-5 years. People still give them chieftaincy title, they honor them, they do church service, they do religious service, they praise and worship them in mosques and other religious places. And we've seen it, whether with governors or ministers. So there's really no incentive for people not to be corrupt, because at the end of the day, it's we versus them. This person is our own corrupt person, is our own thief, and we can protect him. So when public officers, when citizens know that they can get that kind of backing from their own people, there is really nothing to stop them from being corrupt. I know how important good name is to a lot of us Nigerians, even though that there's a tendency that is winning. Growing up, that's what parents used to tell their kids. Good name is better than riches and so on. But because of the love for money, because of the way we worship money, that idea has greatly diminished. But I'm not sure. You really must be a terribly bad person for you to be happy to see your name on what's it now, they call these things the plaque they put on a building as you walk. Just like you walk into a building, say this thing was commissioned by president this on so dates, to see your name put there that this building was erected from the proceeds of crime or from corrupt the proceeds of corrupt practices by His Excellency Governor XYZ. There is always something that can be done, empowering citizens, doing massive education, the National Orientation Agency in partnership with anti-corruption agencies, but also the fact that anti-corruption agencies need to be very open and very frank in the way they approach some of these things, to make it clear where there is allegation of corruption, how they prosecute the cases, how they go about it. People talk about media trial and so on. So you need to be really strategic. The fight against corruption is not a fight for the faint-hearted. It's not a one-off fight. It's prolonged, determined, and all of that. So you need to show that you are in it for the long haul and develop creative ways and means of ensuring that, okay, we have put in place structures and institutions that it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, things, that due process will be followed. So you can't overemphasize the need for partnership, and it's currently going on. I'm happy at the level of collaboration and partnership between ICPC and other anti-corruption agencies with civil society organizations. We hope it continues. There is always room for improvement to make it better, but the important thing is that there is that realization that this synergy is key, this partnership is key, and that we are all in this for the long haul. We are all in this together for the greater good of the country.
Welcome to our segment on the opportunity cost of corruption. Recently, a federal high court in Abuja dismissed an application to vacate a final forfeiture order secured by the ICPC in a case involving 96 million contract fraud. The case implicated the former Surveyor General of the Federation, Ebisinte Awudu, alongside Kumeni Services Limited and Geolove Nigeria Limited. The court upheld the forfeiture of funds suspected to be proceeds of fraud. Think about it. 96 million naira could significantly impact Nigeria's education sector. Surveyor Baba Jibrin from the ICPC will share more details on this case.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on Transparency Files. Today, we want to look at the opportunity cost for 96 million naira, which ICPC got for feature for the contract fraud. Looking at the education sector, can you share with us what can 96 million naira do for Nigeria?
The opportunity cost of losing 96 million naira to fraud as it will affect the educational sector will be this way: applying the BEC standard, assuming at 20 million naira per block of classroom, consisting of 2 classrooms per block. At 20 million naira means you would have 4 blocks of classrooms, which means 8 classes on the average. At 20 million, that gives you 80 million naira from the 96 million. Now, breaking it further, you would have had a balance of 16 million. Now, within the 16 million, you have potentially made class furnitures, which is 2-seater desk for students. Looking at, again, the BEC standard of 30 students per classroom. So you'd have had like 15 units of 2-seaters per class, which at each unit of seats at 35,000 naira, that is what they still give, which would have meant about 4.2 million. Added to that, you will still have made class desks for about 10 teachers at 45,000 per teacher, which gives you about 450,000 naira for 10 teachers, averagely in a typical school. So the cost implication of losing 96 million naira to fraud cannot be overemphasized. It means that it denies about 240 pupils who would have benefited genuine, fully furnished classrooms, for learning. Now, losing that sum to corruption, it means it's humongous loss to our educational system. So I will employ on all Nigerians to put hands on deck, having understood the implication, the cost of corruption, denying social amenities for Nigerians. I call on every Nigerian at this moment to try to cooperate and put hands on deck in order to stamp out corruption, because it's a terrible thing to the system.
I am a Nigerian, a highly cultured race. My culture abhors corruption, and with my integrity, a new Nigeria is possible. I say no to corruption today to build a future for my children. Join me and imbibe the culture of integrity to build a Nigeria of our dreams.
Before we wrap up, let's bring you updates from our state offices. Khadija Ahmed Jibril will guide us through the latest developments.
Reports from Katsina State revealed that the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Mahdi Muhammad Lawal, represented by Mr. Kabir Muhammad Goda, has sensitized the students of Madrasatul Tarbiyatul Islam and Al-Majiri School in Batagarawa local government of the state on the ills of corruption. He urged the students to promote a culture of transparency and accountability amongst themselves by advocating an honest governance at all times. Coming from Rivers State, Ms. Tamara Elizabeth Ebebi of Public Enlightenment and Education Department sensitized the pupils and teachers of the Baptist Nursery and Primary School on the importance of being honest. She described honesty as the best policy in life and further advised them to possess this virtue in their life dealings as a step to becoming good future leaders. ICPC Kaduna State Office received the students of Shehu Giwa Academy, Badarawa, on an excursion visit to the Commission. The resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Isha Kusakaba, while receiving the students, charged them to abstain from inappropriate and unproductive use of social media platforms and imbibe the culture of integrity and dedication in their search for knowledge. The vice principal of the academy, Mr. Mus'ab Abubakar, in his remarks, noted that the collaboration was imperative as the fight against corruption should not be left for the anti-graft agencies alone.
That's it for today's program. Don't forget to join us every Friday at 6:30 p.m. on NTA Network and NTA International. You can also catch previous editions on our YouTube channel, ICPC Nigeria. Thank you for watching and see you next week. I'm Hawasani Garba saying bye for now.